Okay, so artificial intelligence, we hear about it literally everywhere, but what does it actually mean when it comes to marketing? Let's just forget all the sci-fi stuff for a minute. In the next few minutes, we're going to demystify AI and turn it from this, confusing buzzword into a practical tool that you can really use. So where do you even start with a topic like AI? Well, you can't really ignore the high stakes. I mean, you've got brilliant thinkers like Stephen Hawking who painted this really dramatic picture, right? Framing AI as this potentially world-ending technology. It's a huge thought, but is that the whole story?
Yeah, let's bring it back down to earth for a second. The hype? The end of mankind. The reality? Finding you a decent date for Friday night. It's not about taking over the world, it's about helping you decide which product to buy. So, what we're really seeing is that this technology is less about global domination and way more about, navigating the dating world and online shopping.
And at the absolute heart of all of this is the algorithm. It's not some kind of magic. It's really just a recipe. An algorithm is just the set of instructions that gets a computer's learning process started. You can think of it as the basic fundamental building block for, well, everything we're about to talk about. So, how do machines actually learn? This is the big difference, right? This is where AI really splits off from, say, a simple calculator. A regular computer, it just follows instructions perfectly, but it can't handle any gray area. To really get the leap that AI made, let's look at a classic problem that had programmers stumped for decades. It seems so simple, doesn't it? A toddler can do this. But for a computer, telling a cat from a dog was, for the longest time, an incredibly hard problem to solve. And why is that? Well, because the old way of teaching computers was just way too rigid. See, the old way was all about these hard-coded rules. You'd have to write this endless list of if-then statements. But what if you have a cat with folded ears? Or a cat in a picture that isn't meowing? The whole system would just break. It just wasn't flexible enough to deal with the real world. And this right here, this is the breakthrough. Instead of all those rigid rules, the new way actually mimics how a child learns. A kid doesn't have a checklist, right? They just recognize a collection of what you might call cattish attributes. And if enough of those things are there, their brain goes, yep, that's a cat. AI does the exact same thing now, learning to spot patterns from huge amounts of data. And the tech behind all this magic? It's called a neural network. It's basically a system designed to work a bit like our own brains, creating and strengthening connections between ideas the more examples it sees. This is really the engine that's driving modern AI. Okay, so now that we kind of get the how, let's talk about the what. What's in the toolkit? For marketers, machine learning pretty much boils down to three main types. Just think of these as your new power tools. All right, first up, supervised learning. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. You supervise the AI. You feed it a ton of data that's already labeled with the right answers. It's kind of like giving a student a giant stack of flashcards over and over again until they finally get the patterns down. And for marketing, the application here is massive. You can train an AI on all your past customer data, who bought stuff, who didn't, and you can create a model that predicts which new visitors are the most likely to buy something. It's almost like having a crystal ball for your sales funnel. Okay, next up is unsupervised learning. This is where you basically take the training wheels off. You give the AI a giant mountain of data with no labels, and you just tell it, go find whatever's interesting in here. It's like an explorer sent out to map a totally unknown land. And this is why it's so powerful. It can find insights that you would never, ever think to even look for. Unsupervised learning can dig through your customer base and find completely new segments based on really subtle behaviors. So all of a sudden, you're not just marketing to the obvious groups anymore. You're finding these hidden audiences with incredible accuracy. And finally, we've got reinforcement learning. Now, this is how an AI learns to play a video game, for example. It tries something, and if that action gets it closer to winning, it gets a little reward. It learns through literally millions of rounds of trial and error, and just getting better and better. In the marketing world, this can power some incredibly smart systems. I mean, imagine a pricing engine that doesn't just follow a set of rules, but is constantly experimenting, making tiny price changes to learn, in real time, the absolute best way to maximize revenue or sales. So, we've got our toolkit. We know the main types of AI. Now let's see how these things actually come together in the real world, and how they're totally changing the marketing game. Okay, think about the classic customer journey. With AI, you can now personalize every single step of it. So for somebody who's just in the awareness phase, it might show them a quick, catchy little info teaser. But for someone who's deep in consideration, it could offer up a really detailed comparison tool. The whole point is that it's not a one-size-fits-all message anymore. It's the right message at the exact right time for every single person.
Now, this is just fascinating. Using AI, you can analyze millions of social media posts, reviews, all that stuff, and you can actually score your brand based on the big 5 human personality traits. Are you seen as innovative and open, or are you more conscientious and organized? This gives you an incredible, data-driven look at how your customers actually perceive your brand's personality. So after all that, should we be worried like Stephen Hawking? Or should we be excited? Well, the reality, especially for professionals, is that this isn't a threat. It's a massive, massive opportunity. Think of it as an augmentation, a superpower for our own abilities.
And Mark Cuban, well, he puts it pretty bluntly here. The urgency is absolutely real. These tools are changing so fast that just understanding them isn't an advantage anymore. It's quickly becoming a necessity just to stay in the game.
And honestly, this is probably the most important thing to take away from all of this. The future isn't about machines taking over. It's about a partnership. The absolute best results are going to come from combining the creativity, the strategy, and the empathy of a great human marketer with the raw analytical power of a machine.
And that really brings us to the final, crucial question. It's not about you versus the machine. It's about the professionals who learn how to use these new superpowers and the ones who get left behind. Definitely something to think about.